we're going to jump right to 6 for adjustments to the agenda. We're going to move executive session to after the staff reports. Okay. That way our guests can do that, and then we'll go into executive session. So let's see. As far as any comments, I just want to say, graduation was great. It's, end of this school year. Just want to thank all the staff, students, everybody for another great year. We really appreciate it. I know everybody's excited to start summer vacation, and so I'm not going to say much more because Megan will tell me to just keep moving anyway. But seriously, thank you for all your hard work, and I hope everyone has a great summer. The minutes, there's 2 of them, May 19th as well as our big one on the 27th. Any questions on the minutes? Yeah, go ahead.
Really a question, not a correction for the minutes, but Katie, is there any update that you have for us for the Title I funds that are in there, 1, 2, or 4?
I have 2 of them. I haven't sent an update because I'm still waiting on Title II. That's a question mark. We received about 5,000 more for Title I than we normally get, and around, I don't have the number in front of me, I can look it up, but about 2,000 more for Title IV. So right now, it's good news. I'm not sure why Title II is taking so long.
Okay.
But as soon as we have that, I'll make sure that Patrick has them all to put in a Friday report, since we won't have another meeting.
Good news.
Yes.
Any other questions on the minutes or corrections? If I can have a motion.
Make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Okay. May I have a second? Second by, okay, all in favor? All right, that passes. We just did adjustments to the agenda. Oh, the other thing about adjustments to the agenda, under 10.0 old business for today, Jennifer brought up a good point. An opportunity to either ask questions or make comments, because the administration does a lot of hard work in bringing us those board reports about each of the schools. So just an opportunity for the board to comment or ask questions if you have any, because there is some really good stuff in there. So we'll do that tonight at 10.0, okay? Public session, if there's anybody here, I don't see anyone here for public session. So we'll go on right away to staff reports. 8.1, the Dyke Newell School Bath Tech Coding, and I'm going to hand it over to Pat.
So I'd like to thank Lisa Hardman, who's our librarian at Dyke Newell, and Matt Fry Davis, who is in our technology department here at the high school, well, all over the district, really. We've been trying to get this to happen for a little while, to have you hear about their coding that they have and their BBOT program that they have, and the kind of the integration between the 2 schools. So I'll have you guys come on up, and thank you for being here.
default. Um, So first, I know a little bit about the program Girls Can Code. Does that go to a younger level? I mostly only heard about it in the upper grades. Okay. Yeah. It's a great program. I don't know if it works with what you guys are doing or not. And then my other question was, so one part of coding that I found particularly difficult was being able to write everything down and being able to say, like, to find out where something broke. Because that was like this is all tactile and wonderful, but being able to, coding is that language piece plus the action piece. So when you're writing things down, do they ever write down, I pushed this, but like, do they ever get, like, as they get more comfortable with this, do they ever get a chance to kind of write more about what they're doing?
Think if we could have met, we just having 2 sessions, I think
Yeah.
we could have had like longer.
Yeah.
And it really depended on the kids. We
Right.
had some where they really, like, it was linear, they moved it and they pushed the button. And we have some who started with that kind of sheet that you see vertically, it's kind of one line for action.
Yeah.
And they would fill it out that way, and they realized that's not terribly efficient. So they might write forward 5 times, 5x.
Yeah.
So they didn't necessarily reflect on the practice if I messed up here, but
Okay.
they could actually look back in turn. To answer the girls to code, I haven't looked at all their curriculum, but part of the reason we chose VBOTs is most of the beginning level programming stuff requires a certain level of reading. And so,
Right. Oh, yeah.
and that adds an additional barrier on top of the other topics. So we picked something that was tactile because then all the students could come and experience it rather than you have to be able to read at a certain level to even understand what's being asked.
Okay. Thank you. Good point. Thanks.
I was just wondering, thanks for that presentation. How many sessions or how much time does each grade level get? Or did they get this year?
Second grade, but I use them all the time, like there's a behavior, incentive, and like I'll have.
I'm curious, because sometimes these sorts of projects, you get some really surprising students who are not always the ones who regularly understand something first, but they might with this. Did you have any of those moments where you can think of a student or two who, obviously not to say their name, but they got to experience like a new confidence of figuring something out that,
Yeah, I had
They-
several students that I see really struggling with other things.
Yeah.
It was like, whoa, like they just like picked that right up and really done a great job and see what they get.
yeah, because especially when you take the reading piece away, that allows many more to access it. And it's so fun, too. So that's great.
I'll do something really simple to start too, like just can you get it from number 7 over to number 14, or can you get it, and that's how they start out. And then just made it a little.
Right. Wow. Thank you.
Did you have anything?
Okay.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I just love the whole program. So I hope it can continue and expand. Thank you so much. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you, guys.
Go ahead.
Thank you once again for being here. Appreciate it. Next, we have Mary Moran, who is our leader facilitator of the leadership design team, which is the group that assesses our educational plan, help create it, and then assess it, and then report out on the kind of the accountability factor of it. So Mary's going to give us an overview tonight.
So we do have our credit pathways program that many of you know about at the high school, and we will be able to extend it down to the middle school next year by moving some of our teachers around. And so Mr. Depper and Miss Heyman will be running what we're going to call APP, which is basically 7th and 8th grade credit pathways, but they don't do credits. So it'll be the alternative pathway program. And they've created a similar model with looking at data and backgrounds of students and doing interviews, and selected their first cohort of students to be able to start the program next year, which is really exciting.
Great. Any questions from anybody? Go ahead, Jen.
Always a question. I was thinking about how few people voted for the budget in my town. And I was trying to think of how that, if that falls anywhere in terms of getting engagement from our communities. And I'm trying to brainstorm on how to let people know more about what it is and what they're voting for. But I was kind of wondering also too, is that as we have staff leave in these communities, retire, so they're kind of still in our communities and still doing it. I wonder if we could have engage former staff any better in terms of, not for lack of a better word, but an exit interview or something where we could really kind of keep them coming involved in the schools, but also kind of, if they've been here for 30 years, get their perspective. And I don't know if that's does that happen? I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
We do that, and that's how we sometimes get subs and volunteers in our schools.
Okay.
Keep them involved in some way, but
Okay.
get their perspective that then we share, if there's some themes and patterns, we share those with our staff.
Okay.
Monthly staff.
All right. Thanks. Great.
Any other questions? This is a great report. We really appreciate you coming in to update us on this. It's been great doing that all year, and I assume we'll see you next year. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank
Have
you,
a great
Megan.
summer. Get over to Woolwich. All right. So I think now we'll do the executive session evaluation of officials, employees under MRSA 4056A. If I can, and it's not going to be long, so don't worry, but if I can have a motion to move into executive session, we're just going to go over to culinary.
I move that we move into executive session.
Okay, and
I'll second.
second. Okay, all in favor? Okay, we're
I'm
going
just gonna let you in
Yep.
the conference room because that one. Well,
Oh, okay. executive session? Okay, unless there's further discussion of everybody. Okay, we're out of executive session. Thank you. And we're going to move right into 9.1 superintendent's report.
So I just wanted to mention some really positive things towards the end of the year. I mean, Lou mentioned graduation, but leading up to that process, I sent you guys some pictures, but that tradition that we put into place, I want to say maybe 7 or 8 years ago now, where we have our graduates from the schools that whatever elementary school they went to or middle school. I didn't realize they went to the middle schools too. And so they go to every single school. And again, like I said in my email to you, it's great for our staff to see these students come back. It's great for the little kids. And also our graduates really enjoy it. So it's not like we have to bribe them to go down to these schools. They enjoy it. And it's a really rewarding thing at the end of a year. You saw in Nina's report, the Forest Fridays that they've been doing at Phippsburg Elementary School with Nina's leadership. She kind of started that, and she submitted an article to the Department of Education website and under school success stories, highlighting their outdoor learning. And then we had 2 celebrations of learning. We had one at BMS and we had one at Phippsburg. And BMS, Katie can speak as well, but I was thoroughly impressed with how articulate our students were, some of the projects they did, being able to walk us through. And then last Friday, the Phippsburg Elementary School last block of the day was packed. I mean, the whole 209 was lined with cars. The parent turnout was great. And the students, I mean, I learned a lot about seaweed, about lobsters, everything. And they made some board games. They presented. They knew what they were doing. And you saw in Nina's reports a lot of preparation leading up to, including field trips, really made that work well.
And why do they call it Forest, not Parade Friday?
The Forest Friday is more just outdoor. Those go out throughout the whole year. This is more an expedition on more ocean-related things, marine. Yeah.
They have an outdoor classroom as part of the course, a lot of it happens there.
And a lot of it is the older students maybe pairing up with the younger students and going out there and doing a lesson.
Yeah.
So that's why it's that. Yeah. The Summer Bridge program, you know what that is here at Bath Tech, where students, I think they have 5 hands-on activities across 7 different Bath Tech programs, and the program is already full. We have a waiting list of 15, 20 students, so that will happen next week. Mainsail Assembly, I don't know if we talked about that, but that's the community award here, and we'd just like to congratulate David Flaherty, who is a local realtor, but also a longtime supporter of Morse, and also the chairperson for the Blue and White golf tournament. Does a lot for our community, so congratulations to David. In Eric's report, Morse was able to announce 89 scholarships that were managed by the Alumni Scholarship Fund, totaling approximately $300,000. And if you couple that with businesses, school groups, national scholarship awards awarded to the class of 25, the total came out to be over $1 million, I believe, for the first time, which is really an incredible thing. A couple other not small items, just a couple more things to mention. At Woolwich, it was neat to watch the 2 boats float last Thursday, was it? Yeah, last week. And the students did a really nice job presenting, and it's always a great program, and thank Kurt and Maine Maritime for that. And Woolwich had a very successful DC trip this year, came back, and nothing but positive news. And then the last thing is at Bath Middle School, we have a STEM plus M grant, and I'll tell you more about it in the fall when we know more, but it's the second M stands for manufacturing, and that is a 5-year grant that 2 schools in Maine were awarded. We were one of them, and Lewiston Middle School was the other. They'll probably expand to 2 or 3 more schools, middle schools in the future, but this is going to be 5 years of funding for, they outfit our current industrial arts place at BMS with brand new technology, new furniture, storage, curriculum, everything. And for 5 years, we have this program. It would provide a teacher as well, but we have a teacher. So we'll be having that conversation about what happens with that. But we had our first meeting with the group last week, and we are slated to do professional development this summer and hit the ground running possibly as early as the fall of this coming year for well, it would be in a cycle of a trimester, but 8th graders would probably receive it first, then 7th graders, then 6th graders. So it's STEM, I don't know, Katie, it's already created
Yeah, so
units.
it's coding, robotics, CO2 cars. I think there are 8 different units that students work their way through to, and it's put on by the Department of Defense with another company, essentially to try to create younger students who are interested in those types of jobs that either would end up going through Bath Tech or other industries, like naval engineering and things like that. And so it's really geared towards those types of projects.
So it's currently in schools in Virginia, and then they wanted to expand to the Northeast. So this is their way of doing this. So that it was Tim Gagnon, our director of Bath Tech, that had conversations with them, because it's, again, like Katie said, hopefully a feeder program for Bath Tech in the future. And so they wanted to, again, look at middle schools across the state. So we'll be training and doing professional development in conjunction with Lewiston Middle School. And also our teacher will have access to the Virginia teachers as well.
And in Woolwich as well?
Not at this time. They want to do 6, 7, and 8 at BMS. That's where they want to start. We've asked the question whether we could expand that, but I don't know if that would be possible, because we're using the current teacher that we have that needs to be there as a 1.0. Whether we could ever have a teacher over at Woolwich Middle School to also help do this, I don't, this is where they're starting, is at BMS.
It also has very particular location and room needs, and I'm not sure.
And it has to be 90 hours, the curriculum.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that we don't know all the details yet, but it has to be very specific, and you have to meet requirements, and they want to follow up with student data and everything.
And
So
what's the total funding number?
I don't know that yet. Yeah, I just know it's a 5-year commitment on their part. Update, probably have the teacher come in the fall once we get going and give you more details, but it's exciting.
And our APP, the new program I just spoke of at the middle school, will also get to be using that curriculum as well as part of their program. So they're also going to be trained.
And is that at Woolwich as well, the APP program?
No.
Middle school? Just
Mhm.
that?
Mhm.
It would be offered in the future. If
Yes.
Students, like our district behavior programs, if a
If
student
students want
is
to
a good
do
fit, then
school choice in the future, this first pilot year is just Bath, but in the future, it will be open to any middle school student in the
They'd
district.
be coming to Bath. It'd be
Correct.
in Bath.
Yes.
again, like life skills, Jen,
Yeah.
our Bath students or Phippsburg students that go to Woolwich for life skills. So sometimes it's about
Like, move down there.
geography, just for the younger, but 3 through 8 is still at Woolwich. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? Okay. Go ahead, Deb.
There we go. See all these fun things now, we have to figure out how to pay for it all, right? That's what I'm here to talk about. No, that's wonderful, all these things going on. And I do want to say thank you to you all for another successful budget season. So we got through another year, and so tonight we're going to look at the month of May. And we've spent $36.5 million out of our budget, which is 83%. And it's in line with where we were last year as far as percentages. But I do have to say that we will not have as big of a balance in expenses at the end of this year as we did last year. So we're closing that gap closer to what our actual budget is. And then also on the revenue side, we're short a little on our, about almost 200,000 in tuition, which we talked about that earlier this year. But so we'll make everything, we'll make it fine, but we will not have as big of a balance, which that's what it's all about, right? We budget based upon what we hope will happen. And so we're in line with that. We'll be a little over in instruction and a little bit to the positive with special ed instruction. So a lot of it is, how things have been charged out. 92% is what we brought in for revenue. Last year it was 94. And so that little bit of a difference is the tuition revenue. But we will be, even though we're short on tuition, we're supposed to get another 125,000 at the end of this month from subsidy for out-of-district placement students. So that will help close that overall gap. And audit season, Pank's coming the week after next to start for the 24-25 audit. So moving right along. All the contracts went out. So yeah, overall, everything's going well.
Great to hear.
Questions?
Yeah, any questions?
Can we get an end of year enrollment? Because I think this was like at the beginning of the year, right? Do we have a way to kind of compare where we were? Or has it changed? Maybe it hasn't changed much.
We certainly can list where we're at the
Yeah.
at the end of the year.
Yeah,
if you
I was
want,
just
you know.
wondering, or just curious if it's changed a lot, because,
Do
we,
you think it has, Ken, April and October? I don't think a whole
Okay.
lot, but.
okay. Okay, thanks.
Any other questions for Deb? Thanks for everything. Appreciate it. Okay, we have 10.0 we added in with old business. Got any questions, comments about the board report? We appreciate getting the board report. You've learned a lot about what's happening in all the schools. And if anybody had any comments or questions, now would be the time. I think you had some, Jen.
We're starting with Pittsburgh. Just amazing about all the information. If they've coined the phrase crabitat, I think we should continue to use that at all possible moments. And my question I was just thinking about the hydro lettuce growing project that we had, and just wondering, it wasn't mentioned in here. Do we still have that at Phippsburg? It's still going on? And okay.
It's a little sporadic in a couple locations. That's one of them where we'd like to see it be used. More than it's being used.
Okay.
I think it depends on the time of the year. It seems like in the winter when we're around the schools, we see a lot of the growing happening, which makes sense because they're using their own vegetables for their meals when there's less fresh fruits and produce. But this time of year, a lot of them are working on their outdoor gardens or doing other things outside. I think one of the neatest parts about it too, I know in high school life skills, they almost always have theirs going, is they often will use it as a behavior plan incentive. There are some students who that's their reward, is to go and tend to their garden and help out the cafeteria, which is a great part of that I don't think I had ever thought of when we first got those. So.
Good. Well, thank you. I'm glad, because I know we put a lot of extra funds into all those solutions and everything. But yeah. BMS report, at the very end of it, it talked about changing their houses from two grade level, two classrooms to one. And I was just wondering if that is any extra challenges for next year for them, or professional development, things like that.
As you know, we reduced some teaching positions at BMS because we have a smaller class coming in. And then we also felt like we needed to be a little more, creative when it came to the schedule and trying to get more intervention put into at the middle level. And so the class sizes will be bigger, not past our class size policy or anything like that. But so some changes that we felt we wanted to make there. And so I'll share that with you guys, but Connor has communicated with parents regarding, those changes. And so anything else you want to add?
No, I would say one of the shifts has allowed there to be math intervention and ELA intervention and now APP. And so rather than focusing on having our staffing support like a smaller classroom setting, they're slightly bigger classes, but it allows us to have more positions to do other things, even with the reductions that we made, just for being more creative. And I think it is a big change. And I think people are, our math interventionists have had 3 trainings. Our ELA interventionist had a training. APP is almost fully planned except for the curriculum. So they've had a lot of time this spring to put things in place. And so the hope is with all of that planning, it'll kind of hit the ground running. But it's definitely, no small thing.
Thank you for giving that, all that kind of attention to. I was thinking would be a big adjustment to not having that cohort with you right there. Question on the Bath Tech, the challenge was that they're having a problem with ascending schools with different end dates. And I thought didn't our schedules had to be at least 10%, or was it something in my brain?
They're allowed to have 5 dissimilar days.
Okay.
And they tend to be at the beginning and the end of the year, which makes it tricky. I think the one factor that sometimes throws that off is that because Lincoln Academy does not have to be part of that equation, those students are often sometimes out more because of their different private school essentially schedule.
And when, the end of the year comes, I mean, it's about snow days, how many do they use, or other
Yeah,
emergency days.
it's tricky.
So, it gets a little tricky at the end. But during the year, it's very consistent.
Okay, that's what I thought, because I thought that came into that big planning thing. Dyke Newell had a comment in it that they said 1/3 of the incoming students are being identified for special ed. It seems like a big number to me, but again, I don't have any kind of basis for how we have that history. And I was wondering, historically, what does that mean? What do you think?
I would say right now it's a slightly higher number, but we also find, depending on how well students are serviced through CDS, which we know can be very touch and go, sometimes we'll get students who seem like they are going to require a lot of support and require almost none eventually. And others we have no idea about and do need support. And so I think it might be a slightly needier class, but again, we don't really know until they're there. And nothing concerning though in terms of the number.
And different than other kindergarten classes?
Maybe slightly higher, but again, nothing really
Yeah,
out.
some
It
like
kind of
it's-
ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
So it's just possibly a larger number. But because we have the programming shifted there, I think the staffing right now is set up for success. So they're feeling good about that.
Isn't some of it too? I mean, they're getting better and better at diagnosing things or figuring things out as they're coming. So don't forget getting kids earlier.
Yeah.
You're going to know before they ever enter.
Right.
So a lot of factors, but that's great. Thank you.
Last one, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Morris, I was really grateful that some pointed out this number of scholarships and everything that's given, and it made me think, like, I was thinking graduation. I was waiting for one of the students to thank the community or thank like all the alumni, and I think one student did this both. In a way, they thanked, the general community present, but I was like, this is such a huge thing, this kind of support for the alumni and the scholarship fund. Like, should we be like letting kids know more about this is what they have for an alumni association? Or should we is there any, should the alumni association and all the other scholarships be thanked at graduation? Or is that not appropriate? Or do they not want to? Or is there any kind of, before kids get to that last minute of senior year, do we actively talk to them about the alumni association and how much they have helped and will help?
Yeah, I mean, it's constantly reinforced to the students. They go to the alumni banquet, they see what they're coming into. I know with their guidance counselors and with our administration, they talk about it a lot at their awards ceremony that they have, their academic awards. That's or when the scholarships are giving out. That's a process that they go through. So it's certainly clear and evident. I don't know. I think maybe, it's a historical thing here, and maybe if I were to reflect when I was that age, I think I'm happy if I get a scholarship. I may not understand always whether it's from a business or from the alumni association, even though we do try to communicate that. But I think it certainly hits home when they get to college, and So, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I was just wondering if at graduation, like, does the class say thank you? Or is that a part that we would make part of graduation? At that ceremony saying thank you to the alumni? Or do they get thanked in other ways and it wouldn't be appropriate?
I think they get thanked in numerous ways. It
Okay.
couldn't hurt for, a student, but I think,
No.
yeah, I think we thank them in numerous ways as
Okay.
as a school system.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments on board reports? All right. Thank you. So 11.1, so we have a second reading of board policies. This is an action item. I'm just going to read through it for the record, and then we can take it as one vote. Is that okay? Staff conduct with students, recruit and hire professional staff, recruiting and hiring of administrative staff, professional staff development opportunities, supervision and evaluation of professional staff, and resignation of school unit employees. As I understand it, these are all just, again, not for any specific reason other than it's in the cycle of review and update, correct? Okay. So are there any questions on any of these? If not, may I have a motion?
I move we approve all of them together.
Okay. And second by Megan. All right, all in favor? Okay, that passes. Thank you for that, and thanks for all the hard work in reviewing and updating those. 11.2, personnel items. Patrick?
Anyway, one resignation, Sarah Wilbur, who's a special education teacher here at Morse, and would like to thank her for 6 years of service. And next, we have a nomination, I hope I pronounce this right, Zoe Pascuzzo, as an academic interventionist at Phippsburg Elementary School. And I think you have her information with you. I don't know if you have any questions.
No questions. Can I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
And second? Second by Jennifer. All in favor? And she's approved. Thank you. And now 11.4, this is to approve the superintendent's contract for 2025-2026 school year. This is an action item. And I believe, Kurt, you've got a motion.
School year pursuant to the terms discussed in the executive session on June 9th and today.
All right.
I'll second.
And second, any further questions? No. All in favor? Heartily approve. Thank you for everything, Patrick. All right, so that is done. And now I'm going to hand it back to you so you can explain what we're doing with the declaration of votes.
Yeah, we just need a simple motion on this one to approve I know it's a mouthful, but approve the computation of declaration of votes, a motion and a second. And then there's a one sheet that I need you to sign before you leave tonight. So that's 11.5. So if you want to consider that right now.
I make a motion to approve the computation of declaration of votes of June 10th, 2025 budget referendum.
And then 11.6?
Yeah, the 11.6 is a your signature verifying the town assessments. So I have those with me today. That would be you'd be signing on for all the towns. And so I will pass those out for your signature at the end of this meeting.
Great.
That's what's amended, right? This, Patrick? That's great, Patrick.
It's the actual assessments.
It's what the actual will be. All right, and then we got two more. We're almost there, folks. Authorize the superintendent to hire staff over the summer on the board's behalf. We do this every year. May I have a motion?
Yes, I move to authorize the superintendent to hire staff over the summer on the board's behalf.
Second by Anita. All in favor? And that is done. And then I'm going to hand it back to you, Patrick, on the computer lease approval, 11.8.
Yeah, this is, Dean's here if you have any questions, and he can speak to it as well, but it's really for K-8 correct, Dean? K-8 student laptops. It's a 4-year lease, and we have it budgeted and came in a little bit under budget for the 4-year lease. So we just need you to consider that tonight, see if you have any questions for Dean, and then it's an action item so that we can move forward and sign the lease.
Great. And it was a little under budget. And is there any highlight, anything we need to know other than just approving it? Anything we should be aware of?
No, it's Fund 1 for grade 2. High school fresh up.
Of what they currently have? Great. And they already have the same type, it's the same type of laptop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chromebooks.
Chromebooks, okay.
Just newer, better, faster.
Great. May I have a motion? Or did you want to make a comment?
What happens to the old equipment?
We repurpose as much of it as we can if it's in basically a situation where we're not really dependent on it. And everything else we attempt to resell so that we can put those funds back into new technologies.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. May I have a motion?
Sure.
What,
I
or
may-
do we need something else first? No, what did you need?
No, we had I think, I don't know if it matters that much, but in your backup, you had the actual motion.
Oh, there was a motion in there.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
I
I remember seeing the
vote-
You don't have
chart.
to do the
I
whole
got
thing,
it.
just the top part. Yep.
Just-
Yeah.
Okay, she's got
I move the vote entitled Vote to Authorize Lease Purchase of Technology Equipment in the principal amount of $669,500 to be adopted in form presented to this meeting.
it. Great. Second, all in favor? Great, thank you. And thank you, Dean. Thanks for all the work in putting that together. 12.0 is board goals. I don't know if you want to address anything to address.
I think we did some pre-K programming with the presentation today in coding. I thought that was great. And also with our education plan progress, I think that talks about all kind of programs that we have. And I think that's good for the goal setting.
Okay, great, thank you. And so now we're just the next meeting date. Remember, we do not meet in July, even though Megan wants to, but we will not. So the next meeting, unless something comes up and Patrick needs us, will be Monday, August 25th, which I'm not ready to think that far ahead. I want everyone to enjoy the summer. So may I have a motion to adjourn? And don't forget, stick around for a minute to make some signatures here.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Anita? Okay, all in favor? All right, great. Have a good one, everybody. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming out.
Jed, you're right. The total number's right, but then it breaks it down by each town's contribution.
Okay, so what am I doing? Just signing?
That's you gotta sign just this
Just-
once, and
okay.
then you gotta sign one of these for the towns.
And so what's this? Oh, those are all the towns?
Yeah, we'll sign each one.